for anyone who doesn't know, can you just the Book of Kells is an actual Ireland's national treasure. Can you just
the style of the film is based on like medieval art and the Book of Kells in particular, and that's why we went for that really flat 2D look, trying to emulate the look of that real decorative insular art. And Book of Kells is the high point of this kind of medieval illuminated manuscripts, and that's like Ireland's national treasure. So we kind of took all the little gaps in the true story of the Book of Kells, where all the legends and all started to feed in, and that's how we built the story.
Nice. Open up for questions. Anybody have any? Carlo?
Thank you so much for this film. It's beautiful.
Oh, thanks.
I enjoyed every shot of it because every shot is so well composed, well sophisticated, nice colors, really beautiful. And I wasn't surprised at the end when I saw all the different animation studios, because the animation is so high level throughout the whole film. Every scene is really beautiful animations. Well, good job. Right? It's really great.
Thanks for saying that. I was cringing all the way through showing his €6 million movie in PIXAR. Hello.
Hi. I have to agree this was one of the most enjoyable animated films I've seen in a really long time. But I want to ask, which came first, the storyboarding or the funding? How did that work for you guys? 'Cause I see funders from all over.
Oh, we developed it in our studio. Like, I started, my first idea to work on the project was back in '99 when I was in my final year in college. So there'd been loads of work done until we got involved with our co-producers. But once they got involved, a lot of it got thrown out, and we had to start again because, you know, we had to rethink the story to make it really universal and so on. So yeah, there was a lot of artwork done before the funding was in place. But when the funding came into place, it was October 2005, and then that's when we really like stopped working on other jobs or commercials or anything else and just worked on this and kind of got it.
There was so many bits from all over the place. Franken-finance, as we and you piece it all together, and then it's like alive, as you said before.
That's sort of par for the course, though, as far as filmmaking in Europe goes.
Yeah, you could never make it. You could never make a whole film in Ireland alone with the money you get from Ireland. We raised about 1/3 of the money in Ireland, and then France and Belgium were about 1/3 as well. And then there's a lot of soft money, EU money, lots of applications and hoops to jump through, and then eventually everybody has to. While we were keeping working on it as this was happening, but we were in pre-production just as we were trying to close all the deals. It was getting really down to the wire.
We had a few hairy moments where we had a fair bit done and we didn't know if we were going to get the rest of the cash to finish it.
Really?
The last thing, because everybody says, "Oh, has he signed it yet?" Or "Has that person in Belgium signed their contract?" Then I'll sign the contract. So it's like a chicken and egg the whole way. And you spend 6 months ringing people up every day, 4 times a day. Just, "Oh, will you just give us the money then?" And if you sign it, he'll sign it. And then, so it's just, it's a bit of a nightmare.
I remember one time the whole crew had been working for about 6 months, and Paul came up with beers and went, "Yes, the finance is closed," and everyone was like, "It wasn't closed."
I slipped in with a few little beers.
And I was like, "Yeah, okay."
You can't be having them panic about that kind of thing.
The money will come. Whose idea was the piece of animation paper flying when Brother Aiden was rummaging?
I can't remember.
That was great. If anyone didn't notice, well, Brother Aiden was rummaging, talking to Brendan about the eye. The sheet of animation paper with like peg holes comes flying out.
That scene has my favorite anecdote, one of my favorite anecdotes. That was animated by a Polish guy, Andrzej Radka, in the Hungarian studio. He'd worked with us in Kilkenny as well. And the guy cleaning up his scene was a Mongolian guy called Puryevyev Batmagmar, and the translator
Nicely done.
was Edith Sandor, and she was from Transylvania. So she was translating. I was standing here, and I was there going, "No, this Polish guy is a really good animator." And then the Transylvanian woman would translate it to the Mongolian guy, and he'd go, "Yeah, he's a good animator." It was like a real European co-production kind of happening.
Wow. That's
And it
amazing.
was about an Irish monk throwing animation.
Craig?
Was it a pretty young crew? I noticed all those people, only one production baby.
That's Nora's baby,
Nora's-
Nora Toomey there. Nora,
I
the
had to
co-director.
skip out and have her baby in the middle of production. Yeah, it was a very young crew, and we found that we had a few kind of experienced hands holding down certain departments, like our cleanup supervisor Martin had been in the Don Bluth studio for a long time as a student, and he went to Brazil. But basically, yeah, a lot of the people who animated in the film had just qualified from college.
Nora, you should be up here. Come on
Yeah.
up.
Well,
Are you sure? Okay.
I was wondering about the music. The visuals are so stunning throughout the whole film. It's so rich, and then the music just adds another layer of depth and richness to the film. With €6 million, how do you pull off such a great soundtrack along
It
with?
was, do you know that movie Coraline that just came out? Bruno Coulet was working on that and on our film at the same time, and it was kind of really odd. It was like I always felt really guilty. He was just into it, and he stayed on. He kind of said he was interested really early on, and then the money wasn't together, and so on and so forth. And then when he was working on it, he was flying back and forth between Portland, working in Coraline, and then in France and Ireland.
it was all done fairly
It went
rapidly,
really
though.
fast. Like he kind of left it to the last minute, and we were really panicking. And then he kind of, Nora had put temp music in, and there was an Irish band called Keela, and they kind of mixed traditional Irish music with kind of world music and stuff. And we thought and they actually were involved before Bruno. It was the French co-producers who brought Bruno in. And then in the end, it was just like 3 or 4 days over in Sligo, recording the music with Bruno and Keela, and like Keela kind of arranged it. Some of their songs are just original songs by them, but the rest of it is Bruno's score.
And then them playing over the top. But he had never really heard traditional Irish music before, so that was a great few days.
But it was only a few musicians. It wasn't an orchestra, and
Yeah.
some of it's fake, some of it's
Yeah.
keyboard and stuff.
Wow. And I noticed in the credit you co-wrote Ashlyn's
Yeah,
song.
only because it was in Gaelic and Bruno is French, and so I got sneaky.
Wow. That's amazing. Jeff?
Yeah, I was wondering if you could talk about sort of the sequence where, the crystal eye is retrieved, because there's a lot of sort of a visual vocabulary of sort of microscopic photography, microscopic creatures, and I was wondering how that was sort of informing that part of the movie.
Yeah, the Crom Cruach in the pagan pantheon was like the dark side, and Lug was the sun god, and Crom Cruach was the underworld, and so Lug would defeat Crom. And there's actually tombs, megalithic tombs like that in Ireland, where the sun shines down through a passage and illuminates it on the winter solstice. So that's like the sun defeating the darkness on that day. And all over those tombs there's these carvings that look like, the little floaters you get in your eye, or little microscopic. They just look like that. And we used them for the dream shapes every time Brendan was going in.
Right.
So when we were designing Crom, we were looking at these, I remember showing them in Oslo, these
Yeah.
really gross, those deep sea creatures.
Yeah.
Oh, well, obviously, yeah, because they're like, like the anglerfish in Finding Nemo.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
those really, and the hagfish and all. And so we just looked at all of them, and they were so kind of disgusting. And we had it as if, because he represents Brendan's fear, and we had this shape and colour visual language figured out. The art director, Ross Stewart, and I figured out that angles were bad, and lack of colour was bad, monochromatic is bad.
Uh-huh.
So we thought really deep sea stuff, And then he's after eating all the dreams, so inside him are all those dream shapes we saw coming out of Brendan. So I know it's, but anyway, so when Brendan pulls his eye and blinds him and he starts eating himself, all the dreams escape, and then Brendan comes back into our world. So that was it. But the microscopic thing was just, that bioluminescence that you get really.
Yep,
Yeah,
yep.
that was the idea.
Cool.
But there is a cool Newgrange. Newgrange is pretty cool. The
Yeah.
sun hits it just one day of the year, and people go there to see it
Like
coming,
there's a
and,
lottery.
it shines right in through. Before any other time of the year, it's completely pitch dark in there, but it shines right in at this time,
On the
and it
winter
illuminates the
solstice.
whole
And then they
site.
knew that from then on the days were going to get longer and stuff. So there was a whole cycle.
Wow.
I just would like to, I feel like there's this sort of, basically I just, really like to thank you for making the film, A, because it's really good, and B, because I feel like there's this common concept that design and emotion are sort of mutually exclusive, and I feel like this film dispels that handily. So thank you very much.
Yeah. I think that's a great note to end it on.
Okay.
Congratulations.
Thanks, guys.